Okay, I see it's 7:01. This is Tuesday, the 26th of September. And yeah, this is LDR 300, Zoom session for week 5. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Sorry, I'm running just a tad late. And there we go. You should see the screen for LDR 300. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll see if anybody joins. If not, no worries. Sorry I missed last week. Had another what I call exigency show up. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of some tea here. Excuse me, fighting off a little something here. So may have to do that a couple times to clear my throat. Anyway, so I apologize for missing last week. I had something that came up that I couldn't avoid. And these sessions are not mandatory. So I'm hoping nobody was seriously inconvenienced and or put out. All right. So week 5. Okay. So hard to believe. We're on the downhill slide. We've got week 6, 7, and then the final week, which is 7.4, which is not 8 weeks because it's only 0.4. It's only Sunday through Wednesday. Okay, so look for schedule changes in that last week, 0.4. Okay, so some things that are normally due aren't due. Some things that are due on a different date and time. Okay, and that means they open. For example, the quiz opens on a different date and time, and I'll make sure I put out a notice, and it's in the schedule. It's in the syllabus, so you can already see what's happening and going to happen. But I know everybody is busy and has a lot going on. My job is to get you through it. So I'll put out the notice and I'll assist in any way I can. Okay. All right. So week 5, everybody's doing a very good job. There's some of you that can improve a little bit, and I've offered to show you how. But the instructions are very explicit. And if you're not doing something, that's what's going to cost you points. And I'm letting you know what that is. The discussion forum is a couple pretty good questions, I think. Okay, and that includes why do I think storytelling is such a powerful means? Do I have this right? Is this week 6, week 5? I know that's an interrogative. I'm sorry. I'm in week 5. Okay, and we're done with that, I guess. Are we? I apologize. Okay, so let me come out of that and get us into week 6 where we belong. Wow, it's hard to believe. Okay. All right, sorry. So this is week 6 of LDR 300. That means we only have week 7 and week 7.4. So as I look at week 6, I'm concerned. Did I come out of that and make sure? If I haven't, I'll do it tonight. Release the grading rubric for your final paper. Okay, so yes, I did. All right, so a couple weeks ago, I showed you the scoring rubric, and I'll talk about that tonight for your final paper, which is due not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. Okay, and I'll double check that as well. But that's what one of the things I'm talking about of how things are coming due that don't fall on the normal time frame. Usually in your other classes, excuse me, in your other classes, the final papers due the final day, which is typically a Sunday. This time around, that point 0.4 week kind of screws us up a little bit. That poor 0.4 week means your session ends on a Wednesday. But your final paper for this course is going to be due on that Sunday prior. Okay, so it still falls on a Sunday like normal. But that means you've got a couple days left in the course and things to do to include discussion forum and the quiz. And I'll cover the schedule here in just a bit. Okay, sorry for that. All right, so let's get into the here and now. Let's cover week 6, and then I'll come out and talk a little bit more about that final paper. So week 6, you're doing chapters 11 and 12, which is diversity, inclusion, power. That's right, Lord Acton's one thing. That's what I thought. Okay. So the discussion questions are pretty good. I really like discussion question 1 has you looking in chapter 11, and it goes into exhibit 11.4, which is stages of personal diversity awareness. And what I'm asking here in this question is think of a leader that you worked for, participated with, served under, and tell me what stage of personal diversity awareness you believe that leader was at. Okay. Explain using what you read in the text. I give you the page numbers. And then based on your own reading and your own self-reflection, what stage of diversity awareness are you? Okay. And I will tell you that generally speaking, when it comes to describing what stage of diversity awareness we are personally, we tend to either over or estimate it. Many people are too hard on themselves and think they're not as aware as they should be or are. And some people are very egocentric and think they are better than they are. Okay. But just, your own self reflection, and that's what this is. The reason I asked you first, though, to recall a leader that you worked with is to kind of show you um, a means of applying the exhibit to real world, thinking through uh, experiences and instances that cause you to have to apply a stage to a person. And it's not as easy as it sounds, but it helps in the self-reflection, because once you've started applying the stages to others, it starts to help formulate a little better, clearer in your mind um, where you think you are. Okay. Anyway, it's pretty good exercise. I think you'll get a lot out of it. This question, and then of course that allows you and your comments to others to call out your fellow students on where they answer this question. And some of you will let them know that they're being either too hard on themselves or perhaps maybe a little over estimate as well. Okay, question number 2 gets into Lord Acton. He was a historian in the 19th century, but he had a very famous quote in a letter he wrote. That quote is, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." In other words, suggesting that your sense of morality tends to lessen as your power increases. I ask you if you agree with that, and then give 2 reasons for that. Either agree, 2 reasons why you agree, or disagree, give 2 reasons why you disagree. Okay. From there, you're going to also answer a idea, which is it ethical for leaders to try to increase their power? We know that, or is implied that sense of morality lessens as power increases. Then is it ethical for a leader to try to increase power? Okay, and then give two reasons why you think or do not think it's ethical for leaders to try to increase the power. Okay, so these are not easy questions. These are ones that will have to cause you to think through, um, take a stance, yes or no. There's no maybes here. Okay, I'm going to force you to take a stance, and then back up your answer. Okay, and as I've put in most of my feedbacks to comments to you all, I tell you that the fundamental relationship, the one that matters the most, is your conclusion and the evidence you use to support that. Okay, in a leadership class like this, oftentimes there is no right answer. You and I will look at the same situation, but we would apply different leadership techniques, principles, models, theories in order to respond to that situation. That doesn't mean I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa. What it does mean is that I make um, an assessment on a situation and then choose a way of dealing with that or correcting that assessment, and then be able to explain why you did what you did. In other words, what was your thought process? Okay. And so this is where I tend to push you all as students more, because I look at what you have to say, but I look more at why you said it. Okay. In other words, I want to see what your evidence was that supported why you said what you said. Okay. All right. So good luck with those and have some fun with them. And again, as you respond to each other, do so with the decorum that you showed to date, and the respect and deference. Okay. But also give substantive feedback. Okay. Give it more than hey, great post. I think you're absolutely right. Type of um, cheerful response, which doesn't do much for us. Okay. Call it out. Okay. Again, your response is due tomorrow night for 23:59. You can make it tonight if you want. And then you're going to respond to two others no later than Friday. Again, 23:59, 11:59 p.m. Remember, I do that because there's always confusion as to what day midnight falls on. Okay. If I say midnight Wednesday, does that mean midnight tonight going into Wednesday, or does that mean tomorrow midnight leaving Wednesday? Anyway, okay, enough of that. The leadership practices is found on 11.3 and on 12.3. 11.3 is related, I'm sure, to personal diversity. And then 12.3 is probably power related, because those are the chapters that you're covering. I don't think, yeah, maybe they're in the PowerPoint. Let's take a look at the PowerPoint real fast. And let's see if we can find in there. See if I can open that. Bear with me here just a second. I'm sorry I didn't have this fully prepared. I should have already had it open. But let's see if it opens for us. Again, all the PowerPoints are there for your use. They're laid out by chapter. And some of you I know are accessing them. So I hope you find them useful. Okay. Now, do you suppose we will find the exercises? Okay, let's take a look here. No, of course not. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I know, sorry, I kind of led you astray there. Let's not worry about that. Okay. But so do the best you can on these. And again, remember, these are setting you up for that final paper. All right. The key on these, again, is I want you to summarize what the exercise did, what you found. Okay. Some of you still are not doing that, and it's costing you. And then discuss the results of the exercise, right? And do that within the framework of the text. Okay. In other words, if the exercise says you're something, then identify that with the information in the text, what that means, and what that implies as to your leadership. Okay. Answering the so what, if you will. And then personal reflection. How will you use this information and the concepts presented in your ability to lead others? And how does it create value in your career? And again, that gets tough for some of you, and I realize that. So do the best you can. Or when we say in your career, meaning now or in what you anticipate doing, whatever is easiest for you to answer. Okay. And as always, again, those are due in, sorry, I had to see what was happening there. Um, due on Saturday at 23:59. Again, you can always upload those earlier if you want. Speaking of the uploads, just so you know, when you load something up to Moodle in this class, it'll upload as a draft, which means if you do it before the suspense date and time, you can go back and adjust, overwrite, edit, delete, upload a different file, whatever, okay, to that draft. The During the upload, you are presented a button which says, which words to the effect of, are you submitting this as final? Okay. And if you hit that button, then that's it. That's the final upload. It means you can't go back and adjust it. So what does that mean? What that means is this: when the suspense date and time arrives, even if you have it in there as a draft, I will grade it as if that's your final, and I will grade it as on time. If you have submitted it as a final, I certainly grade it as a final, and I grade it as submitted on time. Okay. So there's no harm, no foul in just leaving it as a draft, but it's up to you. The reason I give you that submit button is essentially for yourself. Okay. It's kind of that, okay, yeah, I'm going to commit, and this is my final answer. Okay. And it's designed to allow me to know when somebody has submitted something late. Okay. If you upload the draft and do nothing else, don't worry. I will still, and you have it on time. Don't worry. I will still grade it as your final, and I will consider it on time. Okay, that explains it. All right. Week 6 quiz. Week 6 quiz opens on tomorrow night. I'm sorry, tomorrow, Wednesday at noon, 27th of September, right? And you have 45 minutes, and it will close at 1500, 3 p.m. on Sunday. Now, this is cross-threading a lot of you, this 3 p.m. on Sunday. And I'm not sure, I said a lot of you, a number of you. I'm not sure why. Yes, times and suspicion, try that again. Times and suspense dates are different by instructor. Okay, we all tend to generally follow the same rules, and there are some, but when we have things due and at what time is generally up to us as your instructor. Okay, so there may be other classes where your quizzes are due by 23:59 and not at 3 p.m. like I do on a Sunday. That is that other instructor's business and none of mine. Okay, what is my business is if I say it's this time to have it in, then that's what time to have it in, unless you and I have made other arrangements. And I'm, as you know, I'm willing to accommodate, okay, as much as possible because I understand a lot's going on. But this business of I didn't get it in on time because I didn't know or I didn't realize isn't playing very well. And here's why. I put the time and dates in the syllabus. I put the time and dates in Moodle, like you see here. I send out a weekly assignment instruction that has the date and time in it. Okay. So, and at the very least, if there's a question as to what time or date something is due, I'm accessible and you can reach out. Okay. So right there's about 4 or 5 places where it's clear what time and day something is due. All right. And as future leaders, those studying leadership, it is your business as a leader to know those suspension times and dates and meet them. Okay. And make sure your team meets them unless you've made other arrangements. And there's always that ability to go in and talk with your leadership. But sometimes, things are hard and they have to be put in. So, all right, consider part of your education and not something where I'm just messing with you. Okay. All right. And then the PowerPoints for week 6. Okay. So we've got that all out of the way. Let's take a couple minutes here to talk final paper and the rubric. So I said week 7, right? So week 7 ends on Sunday, the 8th of October. And here is the Moodle write-up. And again, this is in your syllabus. This will be in every week the assignment instructions I put out. It's in a section of the assignment instructions for now of not due this week, but coming up. And then, of course, when I put the instructions out for week 7, I guess that will be this Thursday. You'll see a bump up as due. Okay. But no later than, excuse me, excuse me, no later than 23:59 on Sunday, the 8th of October. You're going to write this paper and have it due, and you can turn it in sooner. If you look at it, it was available for upload the day you started the course. I wouldn't have suggested that, but it would have still worked. Anyway, the purpose of the paper is to, again, demonstrate your understanding of leadership by applying the concepts from class to your personal life and your career. Okay. Paper should present and explain your understanding of the concepts studied through the course, illustrate a plan of action on how you will implement those concepts into your leadership experience. Okay. So this is why you've been doing these exercises, right? You've been doing the leadership practice, know yourself exercises to identify your strengths and weaknesses and or valuable characteristics. In the paper, you identify whatever characteristics you want, okay, your strengths and weaknesses. So out of all those exercises we've done, you should have 3 to 5 exercises that highlighted a strength or weakness of you that you're going to put here in the paper, okay? Then you're going to talk about those characteristics you want to change and a process for doing so, okay? Don't take up space in your paper describing the exercises you've done. You've already done that. And certainly don't show me your work, okay? I don't need to see the process of completing and scoring the exercises. I do, however, want to see you use terminology and principles that you've learned from the text in your answers, okay? So I want to see you in there, what you think, but I also want to see you apply some terminology or principles, models, theories that you learned in this course, okay? You're going to provide a cover sheet and table of contents, 7 to 8 pages long. Again, remember, I do not grade by length of paper. Okay, if you can do this in less than 7 to 8 pages, numbered, please, then go for it. I won't count you down. If it takes you 20 to 30 pages to do this, go for it. I won't knock you down. Where I do start knocking down points is when you don't answer the questions or you don't do it very appropriately. In other words, you don't back up with the evidence, what you say. Okay. What are the things that you're to apply? Okay, well, I tell you here, use paragraph headers. Make sure you apply all the points, address all the points, and you'll see that those come into um, a number of sections, basically 5 sections. Okay. Section 1, you're going to talk about the importance of effective leadership in an organization. You're going to explain how leaders can develop in that organization. Okay. You're going to talk then concepts. This is where you come up with 3 concepts that you found of great importance that really jumped out at you. Okay. 3 things that really floated your boat. Okay. Then here is where you use those know yourself exercises, right? Assess the strengths and weaknesses of you related to those major leadership concepts. Okay. Your plan, okay, of how you're going to employ your strengths while developing your weaknesses, right? We want to use our strengths. We want to get our weaknesses better, right? And in that plan, 3 methods of developing others to improve their effectiveness. In other words, again, getting back to these concepts, how you can better help others, lead others in developing out their workplace effectiveness. Okay. So do you see it? Okay, 5 sections, right? Kind of a primer you're going to give me on effective leadership and development. You're going to identify those 3 concepts. You're going to show me your strengths and weaknesses. You're going to talk through your plan to employ your strengths and develop your weaknesses, and then how you're going to improve others. APA, proper spelling, format. I'm not an English major, I don't profess to be one, but I do expect you to utilize spell check Grammarly, use proper citations, and oh, by the way, uh, go back and proofread because spell check doesn't always find a spelling mistake where you have used a word that that is a homonym. In other words, if you intended to use the word there and intended it to be spelled THERE, but you spelled it THEIR, which was the wrong there, spell check isn't going to catch that for you. Not always. Okay. All right. So in the announcements, you'll find the scoring rubric. There'll be a PDF file. Okay. Let's open that up. Wait. Okay. Your paper is worth 30 points. The content is worth 21. So all those 5 sections I talked about, plus an introduction paragraph and a concluding paragraph. Okay. Do not turn in a paper without an introduction paragraph and a concluding paragraph. Okay. Those are all, that section is worth 21 points. And then organization structure is worth 5. Position statement, your thesis statement, the support you use, structure, syntax, connections, transitions, you know, the normal. And then style and grammar is worth 4. Originality, your tone, what rhetoric you use, punctuation, right? Capitalization, and the like, okay? In this section of 21 points, that introduction paragraph, and then those 5 sections that we just talked about, right? And then how you're going to leave your reader, which is me, okay? Concluding paragraph, right? Okay, so very straightforward. I don't think there's any curveballs here. If there's any questions, certainly let me know. And let's see here. Let me come back out of this. You know how to get a hold of me. My contact information's here and again in the student lounge, plus start here. Again, everybody hang in there. We've lost a few along the way. Didn't gain anybody this time around, which is unusual. But majority is still here. Got a lot of you in this class. Okay, so um, a lot of my responses have been generic in large measure, but I also rely on you to look at and identify where you think you may need more. If you have a specific question, by all means, please bring it up. Okay. I ask that you look first at your grade and put it in perspective. Okay. If you're scoring 100 on these papers and you come in and ask me what you can do to improve, I'm going to have a hard time answering your question. Okay. It's hard to do better than 100%. Okay. But if you're hovering down around the 40s, 50s, or 60s, make sure you look at what I've told you before you contact me, if you would, please. Okay. Um, because I will explain why you got that mark and uh, take a look at that. And then, we'll go from there. All right. Okay. So 7:35, I think that's probably enough for a day. I'm going to go ahead and sign off unless anybody is out there that wants to join in, but there's nobody that came in, just us tonight. These, as always, will upload into that student lounge. Okay, let's go to that real fast. I'll show you where. It's student lounge. Okay, and then you'll see it right here. Weekly office hours Zoom sessions. The video files are linked into YouTube. Okay, and if you go in here and look under that week, you'll find the relevant Zoom session. If none was conducted that week, obviously there won't be a Zoom session. Okay, but that's self-explanatory. All right. Okay. Well, look, thanks everybody for your time, and I wish you the best of luck. Keep charging, and take good care of yourselves. Okay. Bye for now.